With the alleged victim in the case of a former AEW producer speaking out and more, my name is John and you're watching the Wrestling Report. Recalling her experience on NXT and comparing it to the main roster, Becky Lynch noted this when speaking on After the Bell. "I don't know that I ever felt comfortable in NXT. From the moment I got on Raw, I felt way more comfortable than I ever did in NXT. I think a lot of that was I was always on the chopping block. It's kind of one of those things when you say to people like, oh no, I wasn't good, and they go, oh yeah, sure. The great thing about me was I didn't really have anything to lose and I didn't have any shame. So I get up there and I do a silly Irish jig and I played crazy characters like little old lady magician and all this different stuff and hope something stuck, because I was like, well, you know what? They're not going to book me like I'm the next Goldberg. I'm not going to be spotted and seen like, okay, we need to put a rocket to her because she's got it. For me, it was just a matter of how I could survive. So give me anything, give me a sliver of anything, and I will take it. I will run with it. I will put as much energy as I can into it and try to make it as good as I can, and that was kind of what I did. That was my survival mechanism. I think I had the luxury of feeling like I never made it or like I was never going to make it, and I think that was a blessing because it never allowed me to become complacent or entitled. I just always had to work and I had to grind. I think that's what made everything better, and I also think that's what has endeared me to the fans. I think they see that. Not many people are seen and spotted and like, that's our guy, that's our girl, let's strap a rocket to them. Not many people get that in life, and I think people can relate to that. Reacting to CM Punk's return promo from AEW Collision, Booker T said this on his Hall of Fame podcast. That was the promo that he should have came in with as far as putting the focus on guys like the Young Bucks, guys like Kenny Omega, and all the talent there that he was there to ruin their whole world. That's why I said I felt like he dropped the ball with his first promo. This promo, he did everything. Speaking about his vision for what the NWO should have been, Kevin Nash revealed on his Click This podcast, it was never done how I always envisioned it. I always envisioned that once we took over, that it would become NWO Nitro. It was no longer going to be WCW, it would be NWO. If we knew then what we knew now, we would take over and slowly the WCW, like Sting, Dallas, and those guys, would be like the Revolutionary War. And slowly they would try to take back over the Turner product. It would have gone back to WCW, and then everybody would be, hopefully in a perfect world, we could have had the Larry Sanders Show. We could have shot that differently, created worlds, done everything the way I had envisioned, but I didn't. I was one person with a vision. It wasn't like I was Bob Ross. I didn't get to make little trees and houses and I just pretty much did what everybody else wanted to do. Speaking to WrestlingNews.co about the passing of Owen Hart, former WWE referee Jimmy Korderas said, "I was in the ring because prior to this match was a hardcore match, so I was out there helping the team clear out some of the debris out of the ring that was used in the hardcore match. I was holding the top rope and I was kicking stuff out and I was moving towards that corner, that dreaded corner." On the screen was playing the pre-recorded interview he did. I think it was with Kevin Kelly, if I'm not mistaken. There's the promo on the screen, so I'm kind of half watching the screen, kicking this stuff out of the ring as I'm facing that direction and I hear the crowd screaming. I don't know what's going on. Almost instantaneously, I felt something very lightly brushed by and the top rope that I was holding flung out of my hand and came back and jammed my fingers. I thought the rope had snapped. It can't happen. WWE uses real rope, not the steel cable stuff. I'm kind of ducking and holding my hand going, what the heck was that? I looked down and I saw Owen. I couldn't put two and two together. You're confused. I called out a couple of times, nothing, no response. And I just started flipping out saying, we need help, we need help. I stood back while they did their thing. They took him out and I followed. I was out back and I watched them load them into an ambulance, and at the time I was a smoker, so somebody handed me a cigarette. I was kind of shaking and smoking a cigarette and stuff like that. John D'Amico is one of the production guys. He goes, "They want you to go to the hospital, get checked out." I said, "What?" "Just go, make them happy," stuff like that. He took me there, they checked me out, and I called my fiance at the time, my wife now. He told me what was going on, but I still don't know anything until the nurse came in and said, "Are you the fellow who brought in the wrestler who fell?" I said, "Yes." He said, said, "Have they told you anything yet?" I said no, and that's when they told me. It was just rough. I still don't remember leaving the hospital to this day. John got me. We went back to the hotel. He's telling me all this stuff. I packed up my stuff and drove to St. Louis. I still don't remember all that until the next day when I got to TV the next day in St. Louis. I didn't know they continued the show. I didn't know any of that stuff until we got to St. Louis, and I talked to certain people and talked to JR and talked to Taker. They were like, "If you need anything, you come to us." I didn't find out how close he was to me until I talked to Jerry Lawler. He told me he saw the last maybe 20 feet of the fall and thought I was going to be a more unfortunate part of this tragedy. Then I started feeling guilty after King told me that. I felt lucky, but at the same time, here's a family who lost a father, a husband, a son, and I felt guilty thinking that I was lucky that I made it out of this. For an interview with SI.com, former IWGP champion Okada mentioned this about a possible bout against CM Punk. "I'm not sure. The Young Bucks are kind of friends of mine, but if fans want to see the match, I want to do it in Chicago." Okada would also say this about his upcoming match against Bryan Danielson at Forbidden Door. "I haven't seen many of his matches since he went to WWE. When I saw the time limit draw he wrestled with Kenny Omega in AEW, I knew he and I could do something incredible. I have respect for him. There's no hate here. I think that's the appeal. Just pure competitive wrestling." In a previous interview, Sanada said this about Jack Perry challenging him for the IWGP title at Forbidden Door. "I have no knowledge of Jack Perry. It's sad to see someone like that challenge for the IWGP. Is an open challenge really that easy to decide? It's the IWGP. I think it's worth more than the AEW belt." Jack Perry responded to this, telling Bill Pritchard of WrestleZone, "I'm going to be completely honest. I was a little bit relieved when I saw that because I've been feeling a little guilty, kind of secretly. I've never seen a Sanada match in my life, and I was feeling a little bit guilty about that. Like, oh my god, that's kind of rude, whatever." But then he said that, and I was like, okay, that's great. I haven't watched anything other than Kenny and Will Ospreay in New Japan since Cody and Kenny of the Young Bucks left and started AEW, so I've not seen any of that. I don't really keep up with that. I thought Okada was the champion last time I was caught up with things, but it is what it is. I don't think he has any particular reason to know too much about me, but I think it's going to be fun because we're going to learn pretty much everything there is to know when we're kicking each other in the face on pay-per-view. I'm excited. I feel like there's momentum on my side. I knew there was going to be an open challenge, and to be completely honest, I didn't even know who the champion was, but I knew I was going to take it because for me, it's not. I'm looking forward to the match and getting in there with him and experiencing what this is going to be like against a top Japanese talent, but for me, my goal that I set at the very beginning of the year is that I'm going to become a world champion. It doesn't really matter to me who ends up across the ring from me. It's about the championship that he has. That's what the deal is for me. I'm going to do it, and I'm going to take the championship, bring it to AEW, and it's going to be a good night. With Dave Meltzer of F4W Online reporting that a top name in AEW left Dynamite in a bad mood, worried over the Elite and CM Punk situation being a ticking time bomb, Dax Harwood seemingly responded to this on Twitter, writing in a now deleted tweet, "This one will get me some heat, but F it, it needs to be said. Whatever top star left the show in a bad mood because a certain individual was there, instead of running to Dave, why not just tell the individual face to face? That's how we used to do things back in the day." Dax added, "If there is a divisiveness that a certain individual is reporting, I didn't see it at all. Check the Collision locker room too. This is a family." Okay, I deleted the last one because F it, I took too much pre-workout. Y'all screenshotted it, so let's effing go. Face is itching, chest day, Collision tomorrow. Touching on the situation surrounding Rush and AEW, Dave Meltzer said in the Wrestling Observer newsletter, "Rush has been out of action of late due to what was said to be fixing visa issues, similar to why Commander was gone for a few weeks recently and why Bandito, Penta, and Phoenix were gone at different times this year, plus a lot of the UK crew in NXT. Rush would take to Twitter to respond, writing, "My visa has never had any issues. I've been living in USA for a month now." with a pro wrestling personality by the name of Bill Body creating a shirt that insinuates that CM Punk is a pedophile. Punk is now suing this man, as Bill responded to this on the latest episode of Dirty Sheets. I recently received a letter letting me know that CM Punk, Phil Brooks, intended to sue me. So he's using me on the grounds of mainly a tweet and response to said tweet and a satirical meme I posted, but it insinuates that I created the meme and selling the t-shirts that are being sold on the internet. There are actually t-shirts being sold for this. I did not create the meme. I did not sell the t-shirt. As BJ Whitmer was arrested on June 4th and charged with strangulation in the first degree and burglary in the second degree, he would subsequently be released from his role as a producer for AEW. The alleged victim in this case, who was dating Whitmer prior to this altercation, said this to Fox 19 Cincinnati. "I was literally fighting for my life. I came into my house and he was standing at the top of my steps waiting for me, and he squeezed tighter and said, 'I'm going to effing kill you. Do you hear me? I'm going to kill you.' And once we got to the point of where we stopped moving and then he continued choking me, I absolutely knew. Instead of coughing, I lied and said, 'I already called the cops.' And the second I said that, he let go." Sean Ross Sapp of Fightful would add that ahead of his arrest, we're told that BJ Whitmer had some heat with how he'd produced a recent match. And this was your pro wrestling news update. I hope you're all having a great day. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see y'all later.